Have you ever thought of countries of the world, and Switzerland came through?
Today, we'll be talking about Switzerland, and why no country dares to invade it. Nestled in the dead center of Europe lies a geographical paradox, a nation of stunning peaks, crystal clear lakes,
And a reputation for absolute peace. For over 200 years,
the Swiss Confederation has refused to take a side in any global conflict. They did not fight Adolf Hitler.
they stayed out of the Cold War, and they aren't even full members of the European
Union. But do not mistake their
peace for weakness.
If you look at a map, Switzerland should have been conquered a dozen times over. It is completely landlocked, shared between historical military giants like France, Germany, and Italy, and it possesses zero major natural oil reserves. Yet, during the heights of European warfare, invaders bypassed it. Why?
Because the Swiss built their entire country into a defensive death trap. Underneath the beautiful scenery of the Alps is a massive
Network of hidden fortresses, tunnels, and underground airfields.
In this episode of International Hike, we are crossing the
Borders of the Swiss Confederation to discover how a tiny,
alpine nation became completely untouchable.
Before we continue,
If you want to explore hidden stories behind the borders of our world,
amazing tour, countries of the world, make sure to hit that subscribe button
leave a like and share.
to understand why Switzerland is uninvadable.
We have to look at the national
Redoubt, a military strategy.
formulated during World War
2. Realizing they couldn't defend their flat borderlands,
against a massive invasion.
the Swiss military made a radical choice. They decided to abandon the
Valleys and turn the entire mountain range of the Alps into a colossal fortress.
They didn't just dig bunkers,
They weaponized their infrastructure. For decades, every major bridge
highway, tunnel,
and railway track entering the
country was permanently
wired with hidden demolition charges.
If a foreign army dared to cross the border, the Swiss would simply press a button, blowing up their own entry points and completely cutting themselves off from
The rest of the world, an invading army wouldn't be capturing a country.
They would be staring at an impenetrable wall of rock.
Imagine an army invading a country,
Only for the entire nation to suddenly disappear into the mountains,
leaving behind nothing but blowing bridges.
collapsing tunnels, and a wall of solid rock.
This isn't a movie plot. This was the literal, official military strategy of Switzerland.
For centuries, the world has viewed this alpine nation as a peaceful paradise of luxury watches.
Chocolate and absolute neutrality. As the decades passed and warfare shifted from mountains to markets, Switzerland evolved its defense strategy.
They realized that physical mountains can protect your borders,
But financial mountains can protect your sovereignty.
by enforcing strict banking secrecy laws.
Switzerland became the world's ultimate safety deposit box,
Dictators, kings, tech billionaires,
and rival governments all stored their untraceable wealth in the deep vaults of Zurich. Switzerland's greatest weapon isn't artillery, its capital.
by remaining fiercely neutral, the Swiss banks became the ultimate safe haven for global wealth.
When empires rise and fall, when currencies collapse, the global elite from kings to corporate giants store their fortunes in Zurich and Geneva. To invade Switzerland today wouldn't just mean fighting the Swiss army, it would mean angering every powerful entity on earth who has money
Hidden in their vaults,
This financial shield is reinforced by total diplomatic indispensability. Switzerland is the birthplace of the Red Cross and the host of the Geneva Conventions.
because they don't take sides, they are the world's ultimate mediator. When enemy nations need to negotiate,
They don't meet in Washington,
Beijing or London,
they meet on the neutral soil of Geneva. They have made themselves too useful to be destroyed.
this created a brilliant geopolitical shield. If any country attempted to invade or destroy Switzerland, they would instantly freeze or
Destroy the private wealth of the most
powerful people on Earth simultaneously. They became indispensable by hosting the Red Cross and the United Nations in Geneva. By remaining completely neutral,
They turn themselves into the only room where enemies can sit down and talk.
you don't destroy the only neutral ground on the map.
In 1863, the International Committee of the Red Cross was founded in Geneva. The following year,
12 nations signed the first Geneva Convention.
establishing the legal framework for the treatment of wounded combatants in war. It was the first international humanitarian law
And it was born in a Swiss city, built on Swiss neutrality.
and signed by nations who trusted Switzerland precisely because it belonged to no military alliance. Switzerland has 4 official languages: German, French, Italian, and Romansh, not as a formality, but as a daily reality, lived by its 8.5 million citizens. This linguistic diversity is a reflection of Switzerland's political structure. Switzerland is not a centralized nation-state.
It is a confederation of 26 cantons, each with significant autonomy over taxation, education, policing, and local governance.
In 1863,
The International Committee of the Red Cross was founded in Geneva.
the following year,
12 nations signed the First Geneva Convention.
establishing the legal framework for the treatment of wounded combatants in war. It was the first international humanitarian law,
And it was born in a Swiss city, built on Swiss neutrality.
and signed by nations who trusted Switzerland precisely because it belonged to no military alliance. And Switzerland only joined the United Nations in 2002, the last country in the world to do so.
After a national referendum,
It is not a member of the European Union. It is not a member of NATO. These are not oversights.
they are deliberate choices by a country that has decided again and again
That its greatest asset on the world stage is its independence from the very institutions it helps to host. Today, the landscape is shifting.
as global politics fracture.
Switzerland faces new pressures to align with global powers.
Yet, the core of the Swiss identity remains unchanged. Every citizen is still bound to a culture of readiness, backed by an unstoppable landscape.
They have proven that true peace is not the absence of weapons,
It is the strategic mastery of geography.
defense, and diplomacy. Thank you for joining this journey on International Hike. If you want to explore more hidden stories behind the
Borders of our world. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and let us know in the comment section what amazed you about Switzerland.